Rockford, Illinois is 3 toll plazas west from Chicago along the evil monster that is the Illinois Tollway. I visited Rockford, Illinois on March 13th and 14th, 2021. Instead of making one 5-hour-long video to go through the whole city, I split it up into 5 different sections. The city is split up into these 5 sections in a way that each video will show a different part of the city in a socio-economic way. For instance, the northeast side of town is a more affluent part of town than the west side is. Also, while I was here, I visited some of Rockford's suburbs and other nearby Illinois towns. Hey, it's Chris with Nostalgia Tours, and in this video I'm going to be in Rockford, Illinois yet again. This is going to be my 5th video on the city. This section of the city is mostly going to be south of State Street and east of the Rock River. I do start this particular video in Alpine Park, which is a couple of miles east from downtown. If you enjoy this video, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, as doing all of those things helps these videos destroy the monster that is the YouTube algorithm. Also, make sure to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video of an area near you. If you enjoy this video, you might enjoy checking out some of the featured playlists on this channel. Videos on other places like what you see here can be found in my Rockford playlist or in my Illinois playlist. Last but not least, if you can't get enough of me on here, you can always go follow me on my other social media accounts, and those links are below. As the title states, this part of town is suffering from drug usage, high unemployment, and crime. Not every part of Rockford that I drive through in this video is bad, but you can expect to see some patches of urban blight scattered throughout this video. Currently, I'm in the 61108 zip code. The boundaries for this zip code are Rockford Avenue, or 20th Street to the west, Harrison Avenue to the south, State Street to the north, and the city limits to the east. The population in the 61108 is 28,500, which is basically unchanged from the 2010 census count. The median household income here is $56,000 per year, and the poverty rate is 12%. 23% of adults 25 and older hold a bachelor's degree or higher, and the median value of owner-occupied housing units is $109,000. Parts of this zip code resemble what you saw in my video titled as The Best Parts of Rockford, while other parts of this zip code resemble that of what you see through other parts of the southeast side. To the left here is East High School, home of the ERABs. ERAB stands for the East, Red, and Blacks. Among the most well-known alumni is John Erickson, who is the first general manager for the NBA's Milwaukee Bucks, and comedian Natasha Leggero. Niche.com gives the school a C+, so that could be better. Just an observation, as it looks like the street that I'm currently on, called Charles Street, is the dividing line between the naming of the streets that run north and south. To the north, the intersecting streets have worded names, while to the south, the intersecting streets are numbered, which is kind of odd. It looks like there's a decent amount of amenities located here, at least it is when you compare it to spots on the west side of the city. Adding some more larger grocery stores over here wouldn't hurt though, as you mostly just have your typical chain pharmacies. But we've already discovered in other videos that nearly every amenity in Rockford is located off of East State Street or other thoroughfares such as Perryville and Alpine Road, so that should be expected. Poor planning on the city of Rockford's part. To the right here is a nice looking middle school, which is called Lincoln Middle School. Imagine that, a school in Illinois that's named after Abraham Lincoln. Didn't see that coming. Past that is the Swedish American Hospital, one of the 3 major hospital networks in the Rockford area. Where we are currently is just southeast of downtown Rockford. If you've watched my other Rockford videos, you'll know that I've mentioned how Rockford was settled early on by a huge amount of Swedish settlers. At one point, the Swedish language was a close second to the English language amongst residents of the city. This part of town that's just south and east of downtown Rockford is the part of town that was dominated by Swedish settlers when Rockford was young. This is Keith Creek. Apparently, the creek caused severe flooding to the surrounding neighborhoods back in 2006 and 2007. This is 11th Street. The thoroughfare definitely appears to have seen better days. As soon as we got past Keith Creek, you began to see vacant land where buildings once stood, amongst other abandoned properties. It definitely doesn't look near as empty as parts of the west side do, but it's hard to ignore the urban blight that's starting to show along this street. This is the 61104 zip code. The boundaries for the zip code are the Rock River to the west, downtown to the north, 20th Street to the east, and Harrison Avenue to the south. The zip code is home to 19,700 residents, which is down from a 2000 count of 20,400, but slightly up from a 2010 population count of 19,200. The median household income here is only $28,800 per year, and the poverty rate is an extreme 35%. Less than 10% of adults 25 and older hold a bachelor's degree or higher, and the median value of owner-occupied housing units is a low $61,000. It's now time to start talking about the crime, as this part of town does suffer from a high rate of both violent and property crime.
But Chris, I've lived in this part of town my entire life and have had nothing happen to me. Stop lying to everyone and making this place out to be something that it's not.
Oh, you've lived here your entire life and you've had nothing happen to you? Congrats, I'll buy you a scratch and sniff. Look, I'm not saying that if you step into this side of town that you're gonna get jumped or that you're gonna get a gun pointed at you. Rockford didn't even crack the top 65 cities for the highest murder rates in a recent CBS News article. However, it is my belief that acting like the issues of high unemployment, crime, and drugs and acting like they don't exist isn't going to make anything better. It's just going to make things continue to get worse, because that's basically ignoring the issue. Rockford is a city that set its own record number of murders in the year 2020, which is 36. The most recent data on the overall violent crime rate is from 2019, so you know that it saw a spike in 2020. It is down, however, from an incredibly high rate of nearly 1,700 for every 100,000 residents for the year of 2016, so that's good at least. However, going back to today, if you look up the recent news stories of Rockford while I upload this video, you'll see a handful of headlines that involve shootings or even finding human remains in fields. A lot of the disturbing crime that you see in Rockford does happen in this part of town that I'm currently driving through. There's also a crime map for the city that shows where all the recent crimes have occurred, and a good chunk of them also happened in this part of town, at least at the time of uploading this video. Here's a crime map of Rockford that shows all of the most recent crimes, at least at the time of editing this video, which was at noon on Saturday, April 24th, 2021. You can see as I click and move around on the map that about 75% or so of the crime in Rockford happens in the part of town that I'm driving through in this video, which is east of the Rock River and south of State Street. You can also see that the northeast side has basically no crime at all, while the west side and the north side seemingly take up the other 23% or so of the crime that happens in Rockford. I also zoom into where we are currently in the driving portion of the video before heading back. Over here, it looks like this is an older industrial part of the city. You do have some warehouses that are still in use, but as you can see, plenty of them are no longer in use. You have some vacant land here as well, where it appears that warehouses once stood. In Rockford's heyday, it was known as the furniture capital of the world. Once the furniture industry died off completely after World War II, Rockford became known as the Screw City, or the city that manufactured the most nuts, bolts, and screws. Rockford is considered to be on the far western portion of the Rust Belt, which stretches from the Quad Cities to the west to Buffalo, New York, and Pittsburgh to the east. Once manufacturing jobs left, Rockford basically started to fall apart, which encouraged the high crime and poverty rates that we see today on certain parts of town. Corrupt leadership at the local level also plays a big role, as does statewide corruption. Illinois has more debt per capita than any other state, which partially plays into why Illinois has the second highest property taxes in the nation and some of the highest overall taxes in the nation. High taxes, unemployment, and high crime all leads to population loss, and that's what we're currently seeing in the city of Rockford, let alone the state of Illinois. Rockford has lost 7,500 people since the 2010 census count, which puts it in 9th place nationally for cities that have lost the most people. Now that I'm south of Harrison Avenue, I can mention the stats for the third zip code that I drive through during this video. Parts of this zip code look like what we're seeing here, while other parts look like what we saw towards the beginning parts of this video. The 61109 zip code consists of the entire city limits of Rockford, that is east of the Rock River and south of Harrison Avenue. This zip code is home to 27,000 residents, which is down from a 2010 population of 28,000. The median household income here is $55,000 per year, and the poverty rate is 15%. 15% of adults 25 and older hold a bachelor's degree or higher, and the median value of owner-occupied housing units is $116,000. In my video that I made on the west side of Rockford, someone commented saying that they wanted to see more of the prosperous areas along the US 20 bypass. The US 20 bypass is up ahead, and this area looks like it's seen better days. I don't see too many amenities really outside of your typical collection of fast food chains. A nice sized Target or Meijer would do this area well. At the time of making this video, I can't think of another city the size of Rockford where everything is centered on one side of town. It's possible that I just haven't been to enough places yet, and it's more common than I realize. This is the site of a former Kmart, by the way, so there used to be that here at least. We all know the story of Kmart. Hopefully one of the more successful big box department stores can set up shop at this site or at another nearby site. That would be good for this part of town. Not sure why the parking lot is full, but the building is empty. Maybe the building was being used as a testing site for the virus or a vaccine site while I was here. That's my best guess. So I drove down the 11th Street thoroughfare. Here's another one. This is Kishwaukee Street. We are still within the 61109 zip code, but once we pass Harrison Street, we will be within the 61104 zip code, which has a poverty rate of 35%. The original plan was to continue heading north on Kishwaukee Street until I saw this building on the left. This apparently is the now abandoned Rock River Elementary School. More on it in a few. There's a very small neighborhood behind this abandoned school, and while there are some clean-looking homes in this small neighborhood, it also seems like parts of it are used as a dumping ground, as you'll see some illegal dumping on the street in the back of this neighborhood, which is sad. Now, about the school. Ironically, I found an article from the Rockford Register-Star that was published in 2011. The article talks about illegal dumping at the school 10 years ago, and it seems like it's still a problem today. The Rockford Public Schools sold the building in 2005 through a public auction for $171,000. School was in session here from 1911 until closing in 2004. On the building to the right, you can see the words furniture faded out in brick. It makes you wonder if this building had significant historical value dating back to the furniture-making glory days of Rockford. This giant factory up ahead is still in use. This is Accuride's gunite facility, which manufactures brakes for larger trucks. The company has been in operation here in Rockford ever since 1854. Unfortunate, but you can see some more illegal dumping along this street. Getting back towards the residential parts of this city, we're about to drive through the heart of what was originally the Swedish community when Rockford was first getting settled. Not too far to the west is the Rock River. It's obvious while looking around that this part of town is not what it once was. Straight ahead is another old school building, however today it's being used as an apartment building. Up ahead as I turned right onto Broadway, I thought that it had a neat streetscape. I hope you don't mind me speeding up the video to save some time, as we've already seen this 11th Street thoroughfare. One positive about the Rockford economy is that in recent years, it's become a center for the aerospace industry. To the right, you have a few companies that focus on that particular industry. Makes sense as we're right by the airport. The city of Rockford and the regional economic leaders have put some serious efforts into growing the aerospace industry here in Rockford. There's a group called the RAAN, or the Rockford Area Aerospace Network. The group is put together to help the aerospace industry continue to expand in the region. The group's website claims that there are over 56,000 engineers within a 90-mile radius of Rockford. However, only 4,000 of those engineers are within the Rockford MSA. When you expand a 90-mile radius from Rockford, you're going to get basically the entire Chicago metro area, which makes it sound better than it is. Nonetheless, there's a partnership between Rock Valley College and nearby Northern Illinois University, where if you transfer credits over, you can get a discount while working towards getting a 4-year degree in engineering from Northern Illinois University. That's extremely helpful if you're looking to get a better life and you're coming from a family that's not as fortunate. To the left is the Chicago Rockford International Airport. Like most mid-sized cities the size of Rockford, it's not a huge airport, and most people will just make the drive to O'Hare, which isn't too far away. Until recently, in 2016, there was an annual event here called the Rockford Airfest. This upcoming minute or so will be the only stretch of this video where I'll be west of the Rock River, as the only way to not backtrack while showing the airport was to head this way. Harrison Avenue is one of the main east-west thoroughfares for the south side of Rockford. Up ahead, I slow the video back down once we get back towards the city parts. To the left here, you have more facilities that contribute to the Rockford aerospace industry. To the right here, you have even more facilities that are associated with the area's aerospace industry. On the left here is Flynn Middle School. Here is the Cherryvale shopping mall. It seems to be the mall that serves all of Rockford, a metro area of just over 300,000 people. For that reason, it's likely to not fade away, as it will likely stay relevant. It's actually not in the Rockford city limits, as it's in a separate community called Cherryvale, a suburb of only 3,000 or so people. The mall, however, has seen some stabbings and shootings in the local news recently. Hopefully that can get back under control. In this video, you saw a section of Rockford that is struggling with high crime rates, unemployment, and poverty. Not all parts that I just drove through have those issues, but much of the part of town that I just drove through has seen better days. The end parts of this video looks a lot like the parts that you saw in my previously uploaded video, titled as The Best Parts of Rockford. I do end the video here, as up ahead you'll see Rockford's water park called Six Flags Hurricane Harbor. At least this part of town has the mall and the theme park. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, as doing all of those things helps these videos destroy the monster that is the YouTube algorithm. Also make sure to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video of an area near you. If you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy checking out some of the featured playlists on this channel. Videos on other places like what you saw here can be found in my Rockford playlist or in my Illinois playlist. Last but not least, if you can't get enough of me on here, you can always go follow me on my other social media accounts, and those links are below. We'll see you next time. Peace!